Iniciamos ahora la tercera y última sesión que también será en inglés. I'm going to switch to English to present our very distinguished guest, Lord Deben, current chairman of the United Kingdom Climate Change Committee. Lord Deben was the UK's longest serving Secretary of State for Environment, 1993 to 1997. As Environment Secretary, he introduced the Environment Act 1995. He has held several other high-level ministry posts, including Secretary of State for Agriculture, Fisheries and Food, 89 to 93. Lord Deben founded and chairs Sancroft, a corporate responsibility consultancy working with blue-chip companies around the world to help them improve their environmental and social and ethical impact. He's chairman of ALPAC Limited and chairman of the Personal Investment Management and Finance Advice Association. So thank you very much, Lord Deben. It's a real honor having you in this event and in this particular moment with the UN Climate Change Conference in the Parties in Glasgow, taking place a couple of weeks and hosted by the UK this year. I have a few questions for you, please, Ms. Deben, and thank you very much for attending. The first one is that a key objective for COP26 is keeping the 1.5 centigrade temperature limit alive. How can we ensure in COP26 and beyond that that goal is achievable?
Well, I think first of all, and I'm very pleased to be with you, I spent a lot of time when I was minister with Spanish ministers and found the cooperation extremely well. And as I always say in these circumstances, I just want people to know that there are many of us in the United Kingdom who are absolutely furious about Britain leaving the European Union where we should be, and I'm sorry that we're not. And we shall do everything in our power to go to the furthest lengths to cooperate with the rest of Europe. But let me say, I mean, the truth is that, of course, we won't achieve everything at COP26. This is a ratcheting system. The meeting in Paris created a system where all the time we ratchet up as it becomes clearer and clearer, even to the stupidest governments, and there are some, that actually climate change is going to have this fundamental existential effect. And I think we have to recognize that we've already achieved some remarkable things in advance of COP26. I mean, who would have thought that we would have had China and other Southeast Asian countries committing themselves not to support further extension of coal-based generation outside their countries. We now look to see even further steps on that, but it is a very, very important statement. Very important that China has committed itself to net zero, admittedly only in 2060, so we hope to be able to improve on that, but also that more than half the industrialized countries are now committed to net zero in 2050. There really is a huge amount that has been done. But we just have to do more all the time. And the meeting in Glasgow is going to be very important, first to increase the commitments, secondly to make sure that we convince the developing countries that we rich countries who have benefited from pollution are going to help them reach better standards of living without the pollution in between. And thirdly, we've really got to bring into the fold a number of those countries that have so far not taken their part. And one is very encouraged. At the same time, there's a very, very large amount to do, and we've got to keep this balance. We've got to be optimistic. I'm optimistic. I think back 10 years, I'd never have thought 10 years ago we'd have got as far as we've got. So I'm optimistic. But it's a very, very tough operation to keep the temperature rises below 2 and down to 1.5.
Thank you very much. In your view, what can we expect from the big emitters, China, the US, India, the UAE, at COP26?
Well, the first thing is we have got to recognize that we exported a lot of our manufacturing to China. So you've got to be a bit careful about attacking China for being the biggest emitter, because they're emitting on our behalf, if you like. That's what we did. So there is a relationship that we've got to build on that. The Chinese do understand, recognize, and accept climate change. They are passing through a very difficult period. So far, their steps have been significant, and we shouldn't underestimate them. What they're doing in electric motor cars, what they're doing in offshore and onshore wind, what they're doing on solar is remarkable. We just have to make sure that they do more. And we also need to make sure that some other countries that are not helping in that direction, and I mentioned particularly Australia, begin to understand what their responsibilities are as well. And then as far as India is concerned, there's a great deal that we can do. And there's no doubt that Mr. Modi has begun to understand very clearly that renewables is the necessary future for India. And it is a nation, after all, which is under huge pressure. And they also have got to feel that we in the West are going to support them and help them make the changes they need. Happily, what they need to do for climate change is precisely what they need to do in order to get the development which they themselves have to have. So I am, as again, optimistic, but this is a matter of pushing it every moment and reminding people that this is existential. If we don't win this battle, then there won't be a world. I mean, it's not just a question of making a better world, but if we do win this battle, we will have built we've not just won the battle against climate change, we will have built a better, cleaner, kinder world. And to do that, we have to remind ourselves that climate change, as the Pope said in the great encyclical Laudato Si, he made this important point, which is that climate change is the symptom of what we've done to the world, of what we've done to biodiversity, of what we've done to fertility of the soil, of what we've done to water pollution and pollution of the air. And those are the things that we have to clear up if we are in fact going to deal with climate change. And if we clear those things up, this will be a better world. So we are building something better as well as fighting this existential risk.
Thank you very much, Lord Deben. It's very nice to have some optimistic speech in this actual condition. So thank you for your comments. Now changing a little bit to another subject, can you tell us about the role of the Climate Change Committee you chair as policymaker in the UK? Are there any lessons learned you would like to share with a country like Spain that includes an independent climate committee in its recent climate change and energy transition law, but yes, has to develop its governance mechanism via secondary legislation?
Well, we have been very fortunate because the Climate Change Committee in Britain is entirely independent. There are 8 or 9 members of it. We are all, except for myself, the chairman, everyone else is a very, very well-known international economist or climate scientist. And we have a significant secretariat of some 40 to 50 people who are themselves scientists. And we set the budgets by sector, 5-year budgets for the government. And those budgets are then put before Parliament. We've just finished the 6th budget, which takes us to 2038. Every one of those budgets have, as they've come out, been accepted by Parliament. And once Parliament has accepted it, and this is the crucial thing, they can't be changed without the Climate Change Committee's agreement. Now, the important thing about that is that everybody knows where they are. Business knows where they are. The government knows where it is. It has to meet those targets by law, and indeed would be taken to court. Not by me, I'm happy to say, but by any of the campaigning organisations if they weren't meeting what they have committed themselves to statutorily. So we are independent. I can't be sacked once I'm appointed. I've got another 18 months to go, but at the moment we're appointed independently. I'm appointed by the First Minister of Scotland, First Minister of Wales, the First Minister of the North of Ireland, and the Climate Change Minister in the UK government. So that's 4 different political parties. And that means that you are very independent. So I may have been a minister, but I am actually accepted by the whole range of political parties. We are also a country which has a common view. All political parties are committed to our climate change policy. So independence is very important. Secondly, financing the committee well enough for them to do independent research. And every year we have by law to produce a report on how well the government has done what it's supposed to do. And these reports we do department by department. So we say what the Foreign Office has done, we say what the business department has done, what the Ministry of Education has done, and how far they have kept up to what we need to do. And we're very pleased to hear that you're going to appoint an independent committee. We would like to welcome it to the group now all over the world of independent climate change committees, which we have put together and which we share amongst ourselves. This is not something run by the British, it's run by the various other countries. So, for example, we have very big support from Chile and Mexico. We have the Finns and the Swedes and a whole range of people from the rest of Europe, the French, and indeed one of my committee members is also the chairman of the French Independent Climate Change Committee, because she is a French Canadian and therefore has a nationality which makes that possible. So we are very pleased to welcome the Spanish. We think that you will have much to help us with and advise us on. We are very impressed with some of the things that happened in Spain, particularly welcome Repsol's decision that it really is going to be the leader among the oil and gas countries. Santander is a major investor in the battle against climate change. So there's a lot going for Spain, and we very much look forward to welcoming it.
Well, thank you very much, Lord Deben. We hope we can follow such a quality model, and we hope everything develops as it should in Spain. So thank you, Lord Deben, for your contribution. We are very honored of having you here as the final part of our session. So thank you, Lord Deben.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.